And we are back for another episode of the Niche to Profit Show. I am Danny. Thank you. I am Danny Ackerman, the Danny app. And go easy in the chat there on that show that you guys see the replay of right before mine. You know, just I got to work with this guy here. So actually, it's a really good show. It's really fun. You should watch it. So we are getting going today. I'm going to get my notes, make sure I tell you everything that's going to be happening. I'm just really excited to have my guest on today, who, for those who don't know her, is Michelle Sism, who is my personal business coach. So she knows all my secrets, you guys. So be nice. And we're going to get to her in just a moment. We are also going to highlight a store of the week coming up. We are going to talk about a crazy item that sold and niches in the news, and which is everything you need to know for your e-commerce world out there. And just to give you a little hint of what's coming, because I got some juicy stories today, there is some aftermath of a big fight that happened here in Las Vegas and how some entrepreneurs are taking advantage of that. Amazon is doing something special for you flyers out there. And eBay kind of gets the eBay gets the thumbs up from a judge and sellers get a thumbs down. I'll tell you about that too. As well as your questions and comments over in the live chat. And I see a lot of faces over there. Well, I don't see your faces. I see your names. I kind of can follow along as best as I can while we're going. So if you have a question or a comment, we'll try to keep an eye on that and address that. But without further ado, let me bring on Michelle Sism, who is a decisive, driven, and committed to helping business owners build thriving, leveraged businesses. There's a lot of big words in there. She is, like I said, my personal business coach, has been for going on 2 years now. And Michelle is known as the results lady. She is about taking action, making decisions. She is the founder of DecisiveMinds.com. And that name's there for a reason. And so, Michelle, welcome.
Oh, hey, Danny. I'm so excited to be here on your show.
I love technology that we can do this. And
I know. How cool is this?
Yeah. So you didn't get any of those tornadoes, did you?
Nope. I'm too far south. I'm down in the southern tip of Louisiana. So, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, good. A friend of mine is in Oklahoma, just outside of Oklahoma City, telling me, it hit the zoo and they're telling us stay inside. It's like,
yeah,
lions, tigers, bears. Oh, my.
Yep.
So, Michelle, you deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business people, business owners. And I'm wondering, out in your community, because you're not in the e-commerce world specifically, and maybe you could tell everybody what your niche is before we get started. Tell them a little bit about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a business coach, a business strategist, as Danny said earlier, and I focus on service-based entrepreneurs, and I focus specifically on revenue creation. So how do we make more money in our business? That's my specialty. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I found Michelle several years ago through her teaching of social media marketing, and that's where I got to know her. And later, sign me up. You got this figured out. I'm following you. So we see a lot of chatter out in our communities on Facebook and social media, and what do you hear out there that is holding people back? It's keeping them from making the money that they want to make?
Actually, I think that, it's definitely all about the fact that they're not making the money. Businesses, you live and die by cash flow.
Cash flow.
And, cash flow is a byproduct of sales, and sales are a byproduct of conversion. So when we don't understand conversion in our business and what that looks like and how to hold the sale and how to ask for the money. And then it gets even bigger, Danny, because, I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs start their businesses because they, maybe they can't stand their boss, or there's something that they just absolutely love to do, or their friends are constantly saying, "Man, you should start a business doing that." And we go into business the majority of the time not realizing that we've got to be able to sell. And there's such a stigma out there around that whole conversation that it really is the death of a lot of businesses. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things you got to know to get good at conversion and get good at sales. It's a much deeper problem, but that's definitely the issue.
Yeah. And I find the same thing. Right now, you can go to my Facebook group and there's a whole thread. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to call it whining about I haven't had a sale in 2 days. I haven't had a sale all week. And it's all about there's no sales, no sales. And I find, maybe you find this too, is that people kind of stay stuck in focusing on the no sales.
Correct.
Instead of what the heck they can do about it.
That's right. What did they go do about it? If I was on that thread, Danny, you know me, that would be my question. What are you doing about it? Right?
or what are you doing differently?
Correct.
I see people they're going to keep doing the same things.
Right.
Yeah.
So in your world, that might mean that they need to shift up their listing a little bit, or look at how they're putting things out there and who they're getting in front of and who knows about their store. Right.
Right.
So,
yeah. I can't remember where I heard it, but that you can't be a success if you're a secret.
That's right.
And a lot of these eBay sellers are falling into this secret mode because we are no longer in the days when eBay is driving the traffic. I mean, it used to be the heyday. Oh, everybody went over to eBay and your items all came up. But then the geniuses, and I say that with full sarcasm.
I know you, Danny. I know you do.
Making sure everybody else knows this is in the software development arena of eBay came up with this thing called Cassini search, which is basically an algorithm to try and predict what customers, want to come up. And it's a train wreck. It is a train wreck. So
following Facebook's lead, right?
Yeah. So we have to do it ourselves. We have to be proactive and market and all that good stuff that goes with getting the word out about what you sell.
Absolutely.
So we're not so much different in the people that we're talking to out there and helping. But again, it goes back to that you've got to do something. And you've got to do something different than you've done before if that's not working.
That's correct. You have to have the courage to do it. A lot of times it's all about the courage, right?
And the courage, yes. So that's a big focus that we deal with. So what advice would you give to people who are struggling in that mode and maybe don't know what they need to do next?
So if we're talking about looking at the conversations around sales and how that might be happening, or the conversion in your business and how that might be happening, then we want to understand a couple of things. And I know one of the things you talk about a lot is niche, right? And understanding what your niche is. I think that's extremely important here. Without that understanding, it makes your sales so much more difficult. So I'm a huge believer in knowing your niche, knowing what they're looking for, knowing what they're already spending money on, right? And how do they have those conversations? What are the words they're using? And for you guys, it's keywords, right? What are you putting in the titles? What are you putting in the listings that your audience is looking for? The trick here is to be using their language and not your language. Right. And so, Danny, the things that come off the top of my head would be maybe your audience is looking for antique something, the word antique, and you call it old fashioned, right? You just completely missed the boat.
Missed it. Yep.
Missed it. And so you got to know who they are so that you can know everything about them. You need to know more about them than they know about them.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is they're already telling you. There's easy ways for you to find out all of that information about your market. So when we understand those things, and then the other part of that is opportunity. And whether you are a service-based business owner in my community, and you're a coach or an author or a VA or whatever that looks like in my community, the opportunity is, how many people are you speaking with? How many sales conversations are you holding? For someone in your community, my guess would be that the opportunity is, how many listings are you doing, right? And what are you putting out there? And how many opportunities do people have to see you out there? How many places are you putting your products and your wares? So, and I would love to hear more from you, Danny, on expanding that, if you have some other ideas right there.
Yeah. Well, one of the big things, and you touched on this a little bit with saying it's about courage, is I see a lot of fear around even starting a Facebook page or a Twitter account. There's fear. And so people just don't do it. They just don't do anything. So how would you say they can get over some of that fear?
Oh my goodness. So I don't know if you get over it. I think that you have to do it anyway. I will tell you guys, Danny knows me very well and has known me for years, but I am an extremely introverted, shy individual. And so normally, I come and do shows like this? Absolutely. And do I stand on stages and speak? Absolutely. But I'm telling you, I'm doing it from a place of fear. The fear is there. The shyness is still there. The introvert is still here. However, I know my business isn't going to grow without doing these things. So I do. I'm a 20-second kind of girl, man. And you ask me, will you be on my show? I'm going to say yes so fast. And the reason I am is because I know if I think about it, I'm going to say no. And so when it came to social media, for me personally, as a shy introvert, there was a lot of fear in the beginning around doing that. But I will tell you, that's how I built my business that first year. I started this business a little over 5 years ago. And the first year I started on social media because I couldn't bear the thought of networking in person. And so, for me, it was a great place to build community. And once I realized that it's truly only a marketing tool for me, that's how I use it. I get to keep, connect with some of my family members and things like that and stay connected. But it's a marketing tool. And so I'd say you feel that fear and you do it anyway, just like that great book.
Yeah. Was it, I think it was Tom Hopkins many, many years ago when I was in direct sales that said, do what it is you fear the most, then you control fear.
Absolutely.
And me being the control freak that I am, I like having that control.
That is true. I know that about you.
I think that's kind of an entrepreneurial quality, is we all want that to be those control freaks. So, but yeah. And it's funny you say that about being, I don't consider myself an introvert, but there was a time where I actually experienced agoraphobia. I did not want to leave my ranch. I didn't go to eBay used to do these huge conventions called eBay Lives. I never got to one because I was too afraid to step out and go and do that. And it was realizing that I was missing out on so much stuff and everybody's talking about it. And I'm just like, I really want to do that. So it just happened. There was one when they changed it to eBay on Locations, and it was happening in San Jose, which I could drive to. So that was easy. And my daughter went with me. So I kind of had, a hand holder along. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I am never missing one of these again. I'm not going to lose this opportunity to get out and meet these people. And now, of course, the rest is history. I go everywhere, but
yeah, that's what happens is you flip the switch from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
My story is very similar. I after that first year in business, I got a phone call from a lady one day, and she said, "Could you come speak for our luncheon in Houston? Houston's about 2 hours from my house." I did the 20 seconds of courage and said yes really quickly. And she said, "Great, didn't you write a book?" And I said yes. And she said, "Come talk about your book." And I said, "Well, so listen, did you hear about my second book?" And she said, "No." I said, "Yeah, it's a social media book called Take Action, Get Profits, 5 Steps to Massive Online Visibility." And she's like, "Great, come talk about that book." And so I hung up the phone. We set an appointment for 2 weeks later. I hung up the phone and said, better write the book. So I wrote that book super quick. I couldn't get it printed. But I wrote the book and I came up with this idea. I was going to go speak at the luncheon. I had 20 minutes to speak, and first time ever speaking anywhere, I was terrified. Okay. And so I came up with a plan to sell a $97 virtual program, an online program, and I was going to give the book as a gift. And it was a downloadable book because I hadn't had time to print it, right? I sold $2,000 worth of that program in a 20-minute talk. And I remember leaving that room and calling my coach and going, okay, you were right. I can do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, feel the fear and do it anyway, baby. So I was hooked.
So on that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, let's talk about your newest book.
Absolutely.
All right.
Working for yourself and you have your own business, the only limits there are the ones you give yourself.
I'm going to miss that kind of song when the event's over next week. I love that. So that was the promo for the More Fun, Bigger Profits event, which is, oh my gosh, it's next week. Starts next Wednesday. And you will be there, of course.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, we're very excited. You were there for the first one.
I was.
Which is awesome. Yes. So we're excited about that and having you back. But let's talk about, because I see it right over your shoulder there.
Yeah, Take the Risk or Get a Job. That's the newest book.
Yeah, and I have to confess, I have not read it yet. I know
okay.
It's terrible.
You've had so much time to just sit around and eat bonbons.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, So yeah, well, I'm going to get my autographed version next week. So I hope you're bringing some of those with you.
I am.
All right.
So that's a deal.
So tell us what's in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. So the book is, well, first of all, it is, it's kind of my thing, right? You either start building your business or go get a stinking job because I don't know about you, Danny, but I'm tired of hearing the whining. So either do it or just give up. And I know it's kind of hardcore, but that's really the reality of what's going on out there. And I believe that there are three things that keep entrepreneurs broke. They're afraid, they're cheap, and they're lazy. And so that's what the book's about. What it means to be afraid, cheap, and lazy, and how to not be afraid, cheap, and lazy.
Yeah, I remember you telling my audience that last year.
I did.
I held my breath for a minute. It was like, but we get it. We get it. We know.
Even throw tomatoes.
We know. I get lazy.
Yeah.
I get lazy. I get cheap.
That's right.
So
and listen, your event really, you and I have the same message, right? Mm-hmm. It's about just don't let the fear stop you. Don't be that afraid entrepreneur who doesn't do their listings, who doesn't do their social media, who doesn't develop their own website, right? Don't be cheap. I think you did a whole day last year at your event about pricing products.
Oh, yeah.
I was so impressed, right? And that's a big problem, I think, for your audience is that they're not pricing right. And then, lazy is all about doing what you should be doing, not the fun things, but doing what you should be doing in your business. So
yeah, because I'm telling you, if you're sending me Candy Crush requests, I know you are not working.
You're busted.
And I get a lot of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. It's because it's easier to find the things to do that we like to do that feel productive. It feels productive when you guys are out there sourcing and you're in the thrift shop and you're finding stuff and in your head you're going, ooh, I can turn this into $20. But then it goes home and it goes and it sits in a pile of unlisted stuff. And then pretty soon you can't have your grandkids come stay the night because you don't have a bed to put them in. Pretty soon you can't eat dinner at your table because you don't have a table to set for dinner. Yeah, they know what I'm talking about. So.
Too well, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And service-based business people do the same things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you, I mean, I've worked with lots of different industries and I've been in business my entire life. We all do it. There are points and times when we all do it. And it's really easy to get distracted and do the fun things. And, it might be doing the shopping. Say, that sounds like fun to me too, right?
Shopping's fun.
But yeah, if we don't do the rest of it, we don't make the money. And remember, cash flow is a byproduct of sales and sales is a byproduct of conversion. So yeah, we got to have the money. So we got to do the parts that make the money.
Yep. That's absolutely true. And I actually coach some of the people who teach other people to sell on eBay too. And they fall into those same things, it's kind of wanting things to run on their own. They want the easy button. I mean, that was the most brilliant marketing staples ever, the easy button, because we all want an easy button.
That's right.
We want
all about knowing your audience. That goes back to niche and messaging, right?
Yeah.
Yes. It's a full circle.
So tell me if you agree with this, that one of the biggest things out there is, and I don't care if it's, product-based, service-based, whatever the business is focusing.
Absolutely. That's the whole, today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing that, right? And you know what? Not even today and tomorrow. It might be right at this moment I'm doing this, and then 2 minutes later don't even remember I was doing it. So it's a big issue.
Yeah. I mean, how do you solve that issue?
Well, so as someone who's a little on the ADD side herself, and I have to say, guys, I think that, focus is a bonus sometimes, but focus is kind of out there, and you've got to be in a little control of it, like Danny would love to think she is. And so what I do personally, when I have to focus on something and I have to get it done, I actually have a timer. I'm going to show you my timer. It sits right here on my desk. I use it. I set it for 20 minutes or 24 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, I don't let myself do anything else but that task for that amount of time. So I will tell you, if I was an eBay seller and, every time I come to that event, and this is what's funny, I'm not getting sidetracked here, but last year when I went to your event, Danny, my husband said, do not come home with another business. So I have a feeling I'm getting ready to get that warning since I get on the plane on Tuesday. But, if I was a seller on eBay, and the most important thing I could do, obviously we got a couple things that are really important. Know your people, know your niche, know what they're looking for, know how to buy things at the right price, and then sell them. I would be setting that timer and sitting here doing listings, right? Yep. That's exactly what I'd be very focused on doing that. So for me, that's what I have to do. That's the only way I can really stay focused there. And then I also have a team that helps me stay very focused. If I start to do my little squirrel thing, they're like, wait, I thought I thought this was our project for right now. So we have a list of squirrel items, by the way. That's those things we want to get to that's not right now.
I like that, the squirrel list. And then you go, oh, nuts.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm guilty. I can every single day. What was I doing this morning? I was looking up something for the show. And then I ran across this something and all before I knew it, I'm over in this completely different place going, wait a minute, I was supposed to be printing out something for the show, but so we all do that. We all do that.
We do. And so here's what's real important. And this is the insight. And that is that your ideal client is doing it as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So you got to get really good. You've got seconds for them to see your item and then either buy or move on and get distracted, right? I mean, I was on eBay earlier today and I noticed the list on the bottom and said, you might also like, well, that's distraction.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boom. So you guys got to get real clear that they have a focus problem as well. Yeah. And so how do you fix their focus problem? You lay things out in the way they're looking for them. You know what they're looking for. You have great imagery. You have perfect words, right?
Right.
I don't know, Danny, you can weigh in on that. I'm getting my soapbox here.
Yeah, no, we work a lot on titles. I mean, those titles need to be written for the human that's typing in what they're looking for. That's right. And also, it's got to hit them. That's got to be the item that out of that whole page of results that they get back, they see yours and it's like that one. And you don't even have seconds. I think you have like half a second in today's world as they're scrolling down that list. And you better hope you're coming up on page 1 of those results, which, I mean, that all comes down to being relevant. That's the buzz search keyword now is relevance. And be relevant to that customer, which is that focus, which goes back to that niche that you guys hear me harp on all the time, because then you are going to be picked up on that customer's radar, and maybe they come into your store on that one item and that isn't quite what they want, but then they see the other stuff you have for sale and they're your customer. They find something. They don't leave without buying something. So
yeah, that's great.
Yep. I got to tell you, even in sourcing, I used to be an everything sourcer. I used to go out there and whether it was clothes or shoes or knickknacks or whatever, I would just load up. And I don't have time. I don't have time. My niche now for my eBay store is $100 plus items. And I don't do any clothes or shoes. I did too much time for me. For me, those are good niches if that's your thing, but not for me. And it's the price point for me in that I've got to be able to sell it for over $100 or it's just not worth my time. But the fun thing is I have another venue to put those things that aren't quite up to that caliber, but all I have to do is buy it and slap a price tag on it and it goes down to my brick and mortar booth. So I'm still having fun with that, but it's still very focused. It is things that people in the local community are going to want to buy. And so I still have to know who that customer is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that, it's one of the things that you teach is all about the niche and the ways to define it. And it's not always just a particular item, right? It could be price. It could be regional. There are lots of ways to define your niche.
Can you grab your book back there? Give us a closer.
I can grab the one I have.
Oh, she has it. She's so good.
Am I a good radio show host or show guest or what? Yeah, what you want to know, honey?
So tell us what is the most important chapter in that book?
Oh, let's see here. I would say that the most important chapter is entrepreneurs are cheap.
Yeah. There you go.
That's it. Entrepreneurs are cheap.
Give us some details about that.
The details about that are that people don't charge what they're worth. Right?
And they don't charge what their products are worth. Yes.
That's right. Exactly right. And when we can fix that for people, Danny, we change their life.
Oh, absolutely. Right? I love it. I love seeing the scores. I love seeing, the people that take my advice and they raise the price on stuff. And, especially my appsters, they come to me, well, what do you think I should price this at? And some of them go into it kind of kicking and screaming, thinking there's no way. And then the next thing I know, they're going, oh my gosh, it's sold, and they got $100 profit instead of that $20 profit they were going to go for.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that at last year's event because there were several of your clients there who were at the mic talking about how they had finally gotten the confidence to price things better and they were making more money. So, I mean, it really is, we get in our own heads and it's really a nasty place to be, right? There are ways to price things and facts to look at, and the fact that do you want to be the Walmart or do you want to set a standard?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not I'm not doing the dollar stuff or the penny stuff, and maybe that's a good niche out there for some people, but for me, I'm going to set a standard.
Yeah. So. Well, we actually have this year because people need to hear it from more than me. We actually are bringing in a multi-millionaire who's a big eBay buyer. And and my audience gets to ask him anything. He's open. Game on.
I'm excited.
How does a millionaire shop on eBay? So it's not just coming from me. So, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I can't wait to give you a big old hug on Tuesday.
Yeah.
In Vegas.
It's coming up. Yay. Yeah. And for those who are going to be at the event, you will get to meet Michelle live. She'll have copies of her book. I'm excited to get mine. And we'll have you on again sometime, maybe live in the studio next time.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. You know me, I'm on a plane in 2 seconds.
There we go. Oh, there we go.
Have bag, will travel.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. We will see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
I'm Danny Ackerman of thedanniapp.com, and what I do is inspire, motivate, and empower online sellers to grow a six-figure business. I have been doing the coaching side of my business for 3 years, and I have been an online seller for, oh my goodness, this is my 17th year. We have group coaching programs, we have private coaching programs. I do in-person live events all around the country. I do a large 3-day event here in Las Vegas called More Fun, Bigger Profits. And it's all about helping people build a plan, taking action, and reaching their goals in their online business. You can come find out more about me at thedanniapp.com.
Millions of online sellers are looking for one identity to use in thousands of platforms. E-Rated manages your reputation by importing unlimited social media, marketplace, and behavioral data. It reveals your cross-platform performance, compares it with competitors, and calculates your e-worth. And it gives you the tools you need to improve sales and find room to grow. Discover your e-worth and your own reputation.
Oh, I'm just relieving a little stress, you guys, after, having my coach on my show. That was so fun. Like my little guy here. All right. So let's talk about our store of the week. And I love to highlight someone who really has gotten it. They got the niche. This is Barb Everett's store called A Mommy Plus More online shop. And Barb has been struggling a bit with wanting to be home with her baby. She just had another baby last year. I believe she has 3 little ones. And she wants to be home right now. She's working outside the home, and she hates it. She hates being away. And that is one of my passions, is to get mommies home with their babies. I mean, that's just near and dear to my heart. So Barb has been working her behind off on building her niche and building her business. And I'm just really proud of her and featuring her. So what she sells, if you come down here and look, is she sells Christian themed t-shirts. And I will tell you guys, she has found a drop shipper. Now, I'm not a big fan of drop shippers normally, but Barb and I talked, and she really put this drop shipper through the ringer, made sure that their standards were up to her standards, and they have been delivering on that. So it makes it very easy for her to build this business and still work a job and still be able to be a mommy. So if you guys know anybody who's looking for a Christian-themed t-shirt, go over to Barb's store and go find one there and support a mommy that wants to get home with her babies. All right. And from our Score of the Week thread that we run over in the Danny App Facebook group on Sundays, we do Score Sunday, we have got this nifty little 1980s fashion star fillies, Nikki horse. Okay, and I have to tell you, when I pulled this up, I got that little twinge. Like, I remember these. Yeah, and that's what you want from your customers. So, yeah, you seeing what this thing went for? So this is not somebody looking for something on price. I am telling you, she had a couple of bidders here that had that same reaction that I had when I found this. And it was like, oh, it's our youth, that was good times. The memories come floating back, and we're like, oh, I've got to have that. And then they want to pass it on to their kids or their grandkids. So yeah, so you got a couple of passionate people here fighting it out and bringing the bid up to $280. A big pitching. Yeah, and so she got this at an auction, I believe. Let me check my notes, make sure I got it right. Yeah, she got it at an auction with some other 80s toys. And she spent a total of about $180 for the entire, lot of stuff that she bought. And she's already grossed over $800. $800. Yeah. So good job on that, Amy. All right. So I got a new little segment here I'm going to call News from the Booth. And as I said a few minutes ago, that I have a booth at a local antique mall because I can't get the retailing out of my blood. I love retailing. I've always loved retailing. And what that means is going around there and putzing around and setting things up into little vignettes and making it so people want to buy it. It's, all about that eye appeal. And I just can go down there and forget everything and go play in my booth for a while. And it's very, very profitable, which bonus, because my husband was saying, like, you're not going to make any money with that. You're just going to, be spending money on rent and nobody's going to buy anything. Yeah, well, he doesn't say that anymore. He helps me. Oh, honey, you need help getting that stuff down to the booth? Yeah. So booth has been very good. And something I like to do is I like to hang out at the cash register and listen and observe, because anytime somebody comes up, they found something that they're buying, they love to talk about it. I can see it's that emotional thing again. And they talk about why that means something to them or what they're going to do with it. So I wanted to give you this section to give you a little insight into different ways that people are thinking about things and possibly how your customers might be thinking about things that they see in your store. So there was a lady, this was a couple days ago, and she had like 10 different teacups and saucers, all different. They were not a one was the same. I'm kind of watching, and the lady behind the register says, "Oh, are you having a tea party?" And she goes, "Exactly. She was doing it for a bridal shower where it's going to be a tea party theme, and they're all going to have their little, cups and saucers." And she even had little demi-tasse ones, which are the smaller ones. And she said, and these are for the kids that are coming. So all the little girls are going to have the little demi-tasse, and the grown-ups will have the big teacups. And I thought, I would have never have thought that would have been, why people are buying teacups. Never occurred to me. But I tell you what, now as I am arranging things in the booth, if I have more than one teacup, they're going to go together. They're going to kind of go in the same little section there, and might even put a little note that says having a tea party, something cutesy like that. So always be thinking, what could that customer be using this for? Another guy was there with these, oh gosh, I don't remember who the maker is. It's something like, it was like an UNESCO product or something, but it was a limited edition, these endangered species creatures, and they were all like little baby animals, and he had like 10 of them. And he was, he's what we call a low baller. He was trying to get them all for $10 a piece, and I was sitting there, on my handy dandy little phone, and I looked at, because I'm friends, and I said, you can sell those for $25 a piece on eBay. He's got to pay at least $20 a piece. So he didn't get that deal. No, can I say? Because I was kind of thinking about buying them, but she was going to sell them for $10 a piece. They were awfully cute. But when he left, she said, "Oh yeah, he collects those, but he's really cheap." And I'm thinking, okay, that is a customer you don't want. You don't need the cheap customer. You want the customer that comes in and sees those and goes, I don't have that one in my collection. I will give you $30 for it, right? And those two customers do exist. One of them you may have to wait a little longer for, because there's always the cheap customers out there. Don't let them get to you, okay? Brush it off. Let them go. And like I always say, you got that best offer on there and you get a lowball offer, you just say, "Thank you very much," because they just raised you up in that lovely Cassini search and made it possible for the good buyer to find your item. And it happens day after day after day. So just think of those lowball offers differently. So, and Cassini search is what we talked about just, a little bit ago when Michelle was on. That is the dripping sarcasm here, genius search algorithm that eBay came up with a couple years ago. It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm really hoping that, Devin Wenning's going to come in and say, off with his head and redo the whole thing. But I think that's a dream. It is just a dream. This whole trying to predict, before a customer ever puts their words in what they want to buy is more far-fetched right now than drone package delivery. Okay, let me just say that. Which, interesting enough, though, that's actually getting some attention. So, speaking of news stories, let's talk about a couple things happening in the news. Notes. We must have notes. Isn't that a thing when you do a radio show that's on video? You gotta ruffle the papers and tap them on the desk. I think it is. Okay, so there was this big fight that happened here in Las Vegas last weekend. And if you're a local, you did not go anywhere near the Strip. It was like, no, don't even think about it. I don't know how many people were in town, but it was some insane amount. Because not only was it the Mayweather, and I don't know how to say his name, Pacquiao? I don't know. Just shoot me. I don't do boxing, okay? Packy. Let's call him Packy. Pacquiao, whatever you call it. So these two guys were doing some big signature fight. Big deal. I don't get it. I'm not a fighting person, but I knew it was a big deal. And it was Kentucky Derby weekend as well. So, and that made me a little mad because I couldn't go to the sports book and watch the Kentucky Derby on the big screen. There was no getting anywhere close. But I'll get over it. Anyway, so some crazy entrepreneurs have decided, hey, there was so many people in on this whole fight thing that let's take advantage of it. And so they put up this crazy listing, which consequently you can't find the listing anymore. eBay took it down or somebody took it down. So I had to pull this from Newsweek here, as you can see. So Air. It was Air from the Manny Pacquiao fight thing. Yeah, somebody shoot me. I don't know how to say that name. You seen how it's spelled? It's like, change that. Got to change that. If I had a name like that. Well, he can't get married and change it. You're a girl, you can do that. That's what I did. I went from a really awful name to Ackerman. Worked really well. Anyway, so supposedly this is some air from the punches that flew by and a little baggy. So I suspect eBay took this down because anything from the body is a no-no. So I guess the exhaled air would technically be like a body fluid that you can't sell. But here's the thing, guys. If you sell something that relates to something big going on, in this case, I'm hoping this guy sold sporting goods or boxing gear or sports tickets or something that related to these boxing fans, because this gets picked up and put out on things like Newsweek. And while it may have gotten taken down, the attention it got, the people that went over and looked for this one, and when it was still up, darn well they were finding it. And no, it didn't sell. I'm not going to say it wouldn't sell because crazier things have happened, but I don't think this was put up to actually sell. What this would do is get attention to this person's business. I don't know if they had a store or not because we can't see that. But if they did have a store and they sold all this stuff, now they've got some attention with the ideal customers who are interested in this kind of stuff, and maybe they have other memorabilia, bam, there you go. Use this stuff, you guys. Use it. I send my Appsters in their weekly newsletter that they get, and Appsters are my paid members of my subscribers to my service, and they get the weekly trends. I give them some heads up. Hello, anything with the name Charlotte this week? I'm just saying. Anything royal family, that is all, they're all aflutter on the, it's not that there's more people out there interested, it's that there's more people out there on the internet looking this stuff up and thinking about it and squirreling. When they should be working, they're off looking at, new baby Princess Charlotte stuff. So if you can use that, absolutely use it. Perfect example I did when the 50 Shades of Grey movie was out, and it was a big controversial thing. It was all in the news. People are looking. Some of it's morbid curiosity, and use it. I did 2 blog articles, the 50 Shades of eBay, because why not? Use 50 Shades. That's being searched for. Use it to your advantage. Find something that gets people over to learn more about your business, because that's probably going to be a future customer if you start building that relationship. So use it, use it, use it. Yes, the Jesus toast. Yeah, that seller, they got so much traffic in their store from that. I think that one actually sold too. Because really, if you start this stuff at like a penny, it's going to sell. It's going to be crazy. Some of the crazy stuff, the Cheetos, I don't even know why I said Cheetos, Doritos, or all that stuff that they put on there. This stuff happens all the time. You see something and it gets so much attention. People love that stuff. So, hey, if you're eating some potato chips and you see baby Charlotte in the potato chip, now would be the time to list it. Just saying. All right. What else we got in the news? What else we got? Oh, yeah. So eBay wins this one. Y'all know about the big data security breach thing that happened last year. It caused all kinds of anxiety, made everybody change their passwords. Truly, I would say eBay didn't really lose as much business as they're trying to make us think over this about, the people that didn't come back and renew their passwords. I think they just found out who really wasn't interested in shopping on eBay anymore. Because, I'm telling you, if that were the case, nobody would have good sales. Nobody would be having any kind of sales. eBay would be in the tank. I mean, it's not doing great, but there's lots of businesses that aren't doing great right now. There's lots of factors. But there's people doing killer businesses on eBay. I'm got to tell you, this is not a brag, but I'm doing a killer business on eBay right now. So it's truly not that the customers didn't come back. They've come back. They're there. But there have been many sellers who wanted to blame their lack of sales on something. So they sued eBay or tried to sue eBay in a class action lawsuit. And the judge basically said, you cannot show me that this had anything to do, with your loss of income. So basically, there was not enough evidence to go forward. This is a dropped case. Don't try it. Don't go there. And I have to feel somewhat bad for these sellers who thought that this was going to be the answer for them to make up for, some of the loss of last year. And I got to tell you guys, wherever you put your energy is what is going to transpire for you. So if you are spending hours trying to get in on a class action lawsuit or blaming somebody else or something else for your lack of sales, I'm going to tell you, your lack of sales are going to continue. It is a fact. I'm not even going to say maybe. If you put your energy into what can I do to make my business better, your business is going to get better. It's like we were talking about with Michelle. There are actions you need to take. You need to look at what works in your business. Do more of that. What doesn't work, do less of that. Stay off of Candy Crush, you guys, or Farmville or whatever. And so somebody's going to call me out. I know they are, because every once in a while you will see me playing Bubble Witch Saga 2. I'm just saying. But it's only after my work is done for the day. It is a reward. And I'm not saying don't ever go do that stuff, you guys. You need rewards, but if I see you doing it in the middle of the day, especially, okay, my appsters, you know, I'm watching. Because that is not going to help your business. It is not going to make things better. So get some good habits going, you guys. The business is there for you. I am telling you, like we talked about last week, we are still in the I think we're out of infancy, and we're now, what did we talk about? We're into kind of the adolescent stage of e-commerce. But think about this. Think about what the next several years holds for e-commerce. So more and more people are becoming adults. They're moving out on their own. They're buying their own stuff, and they don't know anything other than being on the internet. They don't remember when you had to actually go to a phone book to go look up a phone number. Or, I am really going to date myself if I say some of this stuff. Payphones. Do they still exist? I think there's a few of them out there. Payphones. You went to a payphone with a couple of dimes to make a phone call. There was no cell phones. There was not this, all this connection stuff. So the generations coming up, they don't know anything different. So we have thousands and thousands and thousands more people coming on to the e-commerce world every single day that love to go shopping. People love to shop. People have been shopping since the beginning of time, you guys. It ain't going to stop. So just be sure you know what they want to buy and you're putting that stuff in your store. It's really, every week I have a few. I know I'm a little sparse this week. I got lazy. I just threw a few things in the tub. But really, the stuff I bring is an example of the type of things that I am always looking for when I'm out sourcing, and that you should be, I don't care what your niche is, whether it is clothing, shoes, games, antiques, collectibles, whatever it is, the first rule of thumb is eye appeal. Get the attention. How many of you saw the nice, colorful stuff? Oh, and by the way, did you guys see? I solved my clock issue. Oh, I'm all tangled up here. I solved my clock issue. Yeah. So, I went yard sailing with hubby this past weekend. By the way, did I tell you my hubby now really loves yard sailing? I'm telling you, anybody's got a spouse out there who looks down on them selling on eBay and doing this resale business thing, I have the answer for you. Make money. Yeah. It changes everything. My husband's now, are we going sailing? Can I help you down at the booth? He's awesome. He's not in the chat today, is he? I don't want him hearing I'm saying nice things about him. But no, but really that's truly it. And so he goes with me and we spot that and I'm like, there it is. Whoop, there it is. So that answered my little clock problem because I can see that loud and clear. He even said it for me. Such a good guy. And it was just yard sales, you guys. Get out there and hit those yard sales and find that stuff and spend some money. Don't be cheap. I don't know if you can see my Simpsons Monopoly sealed in the package. Here. Dude, this, I didn't even think about looking this up. I didn't pick up my phone. I didn't try to scan it. And it was priced at $8. Okay? $8. And I know a lot of people did pass this by because of that price of $8 on this Monopoly game. And first thing I ask myself is, can I get at least $8 for it? Yeah. Second question, can I maybe get more? Yeah. So once I got to the car, of course, I have to look out of giddiness and look it up. And it's a $60 game, you guys. $60. $8 into 60. You guys willing to get those profit margins? I know there's a lot of retail stores that would just love to do that. I found stuff for $1 that's now priced down at my booth at $30. And that stuff is out there. And there are people who are not offended if you pay the price that they have on it at the yard sale. Just go for it. Go for it. Take some risks. Do some of those things that you haven't done because you're afraid. And things will change. I'm telling you. You will not be complaining about slow sales if you do that. All right. All right. What do we have next week? So, of course, it is the More Fun, Bigger Profits event. And some of you are probably thinking, oh, she's not going to be here because, she's doing this crazy event. And your secret, there will be a live show next week. So I guess it's not a secret anymore. So we are going to do the show a wee bit earlier. So the time is going to change to 1 p.m. next week. 1 p.m. so that I can sneak over here at lunch break and not miss any of the event. And the time is on the schedule at the VegasVideoNetwork.com, which you can also get to at niche2profitshow.com, whatever you want to remember there. And so I'm not going to tell you who's going to be here. I have a live in-studio guest. Yeah. I'm not telling him. You're going to have to come to the show and find out. But it's somebody many of you know. I'll give you a hint. She has been a friend of mine for many, many, many years. We were like sisters, and she's a big part of my event. So I'm going to sneak her down here next week, and we are going to bring you more news and happenings. Oh, what we are going to talk about next week, because I know some of you are freaking out there in social land, is the new user agreements that eBay and PayPal are throwing at you. So we're gonna talk about that a bit, tell you what you need to know about it and what you don't need to worry about. And I would love to hear from you guys. We are going to start doing a listener mail, and you can write to niche2profits at VegasVideoNetwork.com and send me your suggestions for the show, things you'd like to hear about. If you spot some cool news story that I may have missed, send me that. And also, let me know what you guys would like for me to do as giveaways on the show. I'm kind of thinking, do you want some hats? You want some t-shirts? You want some books? What do you want? You tell me. Again, that is niche2profits at VegasVideoNetwork.com. And with that, go be profitable and make it fun. We'll see you next week.